Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. Coming up in the news this week, an Oxford man convicted of rape, and the Oxford fire chief is appealing to citizens for help.
Stay tuned for more information about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins now. Following a 4-day trial, a Charlevoix County jury convicted 26-year-old Oxford resident Jesse Lewis Royster of 4 counts of criminal sexual conduct in the 3rd degree. Charges are related to an alleged assault by the subject at a Boyne Mountain resort in December of 2012. The felony carries a maximum of 15 years in prison if convicted, and sentencing is scheduled for later in May.
According to the Oakland County Sheriff's deputies, an 18-year-old Oxford Township woman was sexually assaulted after a party she attended in Brandon Township. She told deputies she was at the party with 2 of her girlfriends, and when they became intoxicated, the girls decided to stay the night. During the night, an unknown male entered her room and assaulted her, allegedly. The victim was transported to a designated medical facility for an exam. The investigation still continues.
According to Lake Orion Police, a recent 3-car auto accident on M24 resulted in a temporary loss of power to a small part of the village. Officers said an 86-year-old woman from Oxford Township attempted to make a left-hand turn against the red light onto M24, turning directly into the path of an oncoming car driven by a Clarkston man. The result was a 3-car pileup which all struck the light pole, high voltage pole, which DTE was able to bring power back on in about 3 hours.
According to Fire Chief Pete Schultz, the Oxford Fire Department is suffering from a shortage of paid on-call EMT and fire personnel, and he would like the community to help. Due to an ongoing shortage of manpower, the fire department's existing staff is feeling the strain of having to put in longer work hours. The chief says ideally he would like to maintain a 10 to 12 paid on-call staff. For those who are interested in becoming an EMT or firefighter, the department has an extensive advanced training program to prepare candidates for the job. Paid on-call employees receive an hourly wage between $10 and $20 an hour based on education and experience, and full-time experience can fetch over $100,000 per year. Applications can be obtained from the department website at www.oxfordfire, or for more information, contact the chief at 248-969-9483.
18-year-old Oxford resident Emily Cologne is preparing to compete in the Miss Michigan Teen USA pageant. The pageant will be held in Port Huron, September 26th to 27th, and Emily hopes to someday be a professional model and has already appeared in television commercials and worked some modeling. Her hopes for the pageant are high, but then so are the costs to compete. Emily is looking for Oxford sponsors who would like to help defray expenses. If you would like to help her, go to her email address at emilycologne@gmail.com.
Over 25,000 pounds of food was collected by Orion and Oxford postal carriers, and the bounty will go to the Oxford Orion Fish Pantry. The collection is a result of local Oxford and Orion residents who so generously contributed their canned goods. U.S. letter carriers promoted the 22nd annual Stamp Out Hunger campaign, and thanks to all who participated.
Well, Terry, what's new this week?
I have nothing to be on the muscle about.
You don't even want to talk about the possibilities of jobs out there?
Job possibilities in Oxford are pretty good, and Addison Township too. Both fire departments have a shortage of on-call paid firefighters, and that's because, you know, people have those double income homes. They just don't have that spare time anymore. But boy, oh boy, it sounds like it could be a good career.
$100,000 a year.
Yeah,
sounds pretty good.
I could take that. I think I picked the wrong career, but I couldn't stand those masks. I'm telling you, they're heroes.
You know, you have to pay the dues too, so it takes a little while before you get to that kind of money.
Yeah, right. But
like
still,
you got to pay the dues here too, you know.
Yeah, it takes a while for us to get this newscast out.
It does. And nothing about turtles this week, though.
Oh, nothing. Well, you know, I passed another one on Oakwood Road today on the side of the road. No, it was pretty squashed. It
Oh.
was the only thing waving was his little tail in the air like
Oh.
those squirrels, but that was 5 feet off the road. There's just no reason for it, and I probably won't stop this campaign. I'm a turtle lover, even though we have a huge snapper that kind of scares my dogs, but that's it for Oxford News this week. I'm Terry Stiles, and if you want to learn more about these stories and others, shop at your local store and pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader.
Coming up next on OCTV, more news. Stay with us for Oxford Local Sports and with Andy Curtis, and Oxford School News with John Oetjens, and Science in the News and Auto Talk with Dave Kenny.
That's it for Oxford News this week. I'm Terry Stiles.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Thanks for watching.
On out for Friday night fish at the Oxford American Legion Hall. It's delicious.
We love the Legion. They have great fish and good family fun.
American Legion fish fry. It's awesome. And the drinks are good, the food is good, the service is awesome.
You're watching OCTV, Oxford Community Television, serving Oxford, Addison Township, and the village of Leonard.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, Fiat Chrysler Automobile CEO Sergio Marchionne said May 13th that Chrysler Group will increasingly have to turn to electrification of its vehicles to meet the government's rules requiring cars and light trucks to average 54.5 miles per gallon by the 2025 model year. But Marchionne also said that the company, ranked last among large automakers in the United States for car fuel economy in 2013, is on track internally to meet long-term the government's latest fuel economy requirements. Marchionne addressed reporters as Chrysler dedicated a $162 million transmission plant to build a 9-speed automatic transmission that will underpin almost all its future front-wheel drive vehicles. With the 9-speed automatic, the redesigned 2015 Chrysler 200 sedan is expected to achieve up to 36 miles per gallon on the highway. Since 2009, Chrysler Group has sought to reduce its lineup of engines and transmissions from what Marchionne called a collection of mutts to a set of standardized powertrains that can be used across its product portfolio. It uses an 8-speed transmission to power most of its rear-wheel drive light vehicles and is transitioning to the 9-speed automatic for front-wheel drive vehicles. Chrysler launched the 9-speed transmission, which is licensed from ZF Friedrichshafen and built here and in Chrysler's massive transmission complex in nearby Kokomo, Indiana, in 2013 on the 2014 Jeep Cherokee. The 2015 Chrysler 200, which the company began shipping to dealers on May 2nd, is the second Chrysler Group vehicle to use the lightweight, fuel-efficient transmission. And at GM, monthly subscription rates for General Motors 4G LTE data connection through OnStar will range from $5 to $50 a month, depending on usage, the company said on May 12th. GM plans to roll out the 4G service in June, starting with the 2015 Chevrolet Malibu. The 4G connection, notably faster than the widely available 3G service, will be offered across most of GM's lineup for the 2015 model year. GM also said it will delay a planned launch of App Shop, a suite of about a dozen applications that owners can download directly to their vehicle's infotainment unit. GM said the feature won't be ready for the 2015 vehicles as originally planned, but that it still plans to offer it at some point. Vehicle buyers will get 3 months of 4G service or up to 3 gigabytes of use, whichever comes first. After the trial period, owners can pay for the service on a sliding scale based on usage. Those who already subscribe to OnStar's existing safety and security service or its navigation service will pay lower rates for some monthly plans. And GM just can't get a break. General Motors is recalling 2.7 million U.S. cars and trucks for problems ranging from flawed brake lights and windshield wipers to brake problems, an escalation of the safety crisis that has enveloped the company for months. In less than 5 months this year, GM has recalled about 6 times the number of vehicles that it had been recalling annually in recent years. The spate of recalls comes as GM accelerates its review of potential safety problems in the wake of its recall of 2.6 million small cars to correct faulty ignition switches that the company has linked to 35 crashes and 13 deaths. The new recalls are as follows. 2.4 million 2004 to 2012 Malibus, 2004 to 2007 Malibu Maxes, 2005 to 2010 Malibu, or that's to say Pontiac G6s, and 2007 to 2010 Saturn Auras to modify the brake lamp wiring harness. GM said the vehicles could have corrosion in the wiring harness for the body control module, which could result in brake lamps failing to illuminate or could cause brake lamps to light up when they're not supposed to. The condition could also disable cruise control, traction control, electronic stability control, and panic braking assist, GM says. Also, there's 140,000 GM Malibus, or Chevrolet Malibus that is, sedans from the 2014 model year for a problem with the electronic brake control module that can increase the risk of crashes. GM said dealers will reprogram the control module. GM said it's aware of 4 crashes, but it's unclear whether they are related to the problem. It's unaware of any related injuries. Also, there's 111,889 2005 to 2007 Chevrolet Corvettes for a problem with a loss of low beam headlight function, and 19,225 Cadillac CTS models from the 2013 to 2014 model years with the possibility of the windshield wipers not working after a vehicle jump start with vehicles active and restricted, such as by snow or ice. And lastly, 477 Chevrolet Silverado and GMC Sierra light-duty pickups from the 2014 model year and 2015 model year Chevrolet Tahoe SUVs for a problem with a tie rod threaded attachment to the steering gear stack. And that's quite a statement. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.
A full life measured in seats starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
I'm Jim Schwartz, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction at the Oxford Community Schools. And I'm just putting an open invitation out to folks who might be interested in our Young Fives program, our developmental kindergarten program that is going to be opening in each building that we have this fall. This is for any parent who is thinking about kindergarten, but maybe your child's not quite ready for kindergarten and the rigors of kindergarten. Young Fives program would be for you. Having finished a 4-year-old preschool program, this is a nice transition into the rigors of a kindergarten program. Young Fives is a program that is steeped in play, but still offering a great preparation for Common Core and the rigors of our national curriculum that starts in kindergarten. If you have a child who's been born in June 1st of 2009 to December 1st of 2009, we certainly welcome you to enroll at our enrollment offices on 10 North Washington, right in downtown. Come on in, bring proof of residency, birth certificate, and we will get you registered. We are looking forward to classrooms being available for students in buildings across the district. Transportation is provided by the school district for this great opportunity. And again, we have an open invitation, and we hope you join us at Oxford Schools.
I'm John Oetjens, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcats School Update.
Late word just in that Oxford Middle School Pre-Engineering Program has received the 2014 Education Excellence Award from the Michigan Association of School Boards. It is the 8th time Oxford has been honored by this group. The pre-engineering program was one of 20 programs selected. The Oxford School Board has concluded their interviews for replacing resigning board member Bill Keenest. Angela Mitchell will be completing Keenest's term. We caught up with her at this week's school board meeting, and she tells us about herself and why she volunteered.
I have been an Oxford resident for about 14 years. I've got 2 kids in the district. I have a son who's in 4th grade at OES and a son who's in 6th grade at the middle school. I've been interested in what's been going on for about the past 2 years. I've kind of been watching, what's been going on. I was interested how passionate people get about some of the issues, and I decided that it was time to get involved and serve the community and give back.
New school board member Angela Mitchell. More good news from the Oxford Automotive Technology Department. Teacher Dan Balsley and his crew report the latest results from the Mites Automotive Competition on May 9th.
These boys were involved in the Mites competition. It's an automotive competition held down in Washtenaw Community College, and this was last Friday, May 9th. Both of these boys were in the advanced level, and Chad, blonde, did especially well, ending up in 3rd place overall.
Junior Chad Simmers took the top honors from our group. He explains more.
1st in general auto, 2nd in electrical, 4th in suspension, 4th in engine repair, 5th in written portion, 5th in brakes, and 8th in math. I got about $35,000 in scholarships.
That's $35,000 as in dollars. Junior James McCormick also did well. He fills us in.
I got 6th place in engine repair, 3rd place in suspension, and 8th place in brakes. I got $7,000 to UNOH, $2,500 to Ohio Tech, and a $1,000 scholarship to MIAT. I am intending on going to UNOH for agricultural diesel.
James McCormick. Dan Balsley tells us more about how the Mites competition is run.
The event is designed to offer the students a number of different categories to compete. For example, they'll have to compete in brake service, which would be to reassemble a wheel cylinder, make lateral runout measurements on a rotor and minimum thickness, service type of things. A lot of the competition is geared toward the service aspect. So it's very hands-on, it's very time-consuming. They have to identify components, they have to bend tubing and flare tubing, and that's just in the brakes category. There's also suspensions and engine rebuilding, engine performance, where they have to download fault codes, diagnose no-start conditions. The competition really takes all day. We register at 7:30 in the morning, runs right through until about 3:30 in the afternoon.
The next hurdle will be the AAA Ford National Competition in Dearborn. That comes along next month. Bullying is a topic of major concern on every school campus in the country. Oxford schools are concluding their 3rd year of the world-renowned Ulvaeus Bullying Prevention Program. What is unique about it is its accent on kids helping kids. We spoke with high school principal Todd Dunkley about how the high school kids are involved.
As they go down on Wednesday mornings to work during advisory periods for the middle school, and they are role models and mentors who, if you remember being that age, you look up to high schoolers, and they take them through a series of sometimes role playing, and sometimes they engage them in discussion about how to stand up, how to be, and how to act in every situation. And the elementary level, it's more or less giving them everything to say, how to say stop, how to say don't do that, ways to do it properly, as opposed to ways where you shouldn't do it.
We'll be dealing more with that subject on a future edition of Schooling Around. Thanks for joining us. That's the Oxford Wildcats School Update for this week. Stay tuned for Science in the News with Dave Kenny and Oxford Wildcat Sports. I'm John Oetjens for Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
You're watching OCTV, Oxford Community Television, serving Oxford, Addison Township, and the village of Leonard.
Finally getting a small break in the spring showers and winter-like temperatures, the boys varsity lacrosse team grinded out a tough win last Thursday against visiting Sterling Heights, 19-15. On senior night in front of the largest boys lacrosse crowd in school history, the Cats, battling some key injuries, rode the play of Louis Urban, who scored 3 goals and 3 assists, Nathan Tilley with 5 goals, and Noah Grove, who scored 7 along with 2 assists. Now, Urban, who is subbing for Austin Kreshock, who is currently out with a knee injury, is one of the smaller role players that Coach Norman looks to make bigger contributions in upcoming games as they open up MHSAA tournament play this afternoon at 4:30 against Davison. Now, you stay tuned right here for all those tournament updates. For any Oxford girls or pom-pom loving boys interested in becoming a cheerleader next year, tryouts will be held May 27th through the 29th at Oxford High School from 6 to 8:30 p.m. For more information, you can download the tryout packet found on the Oxford Athletic website, oxfordathletics.org, or contact varsity head coaches Sherry Russell or Melissa McLean. Their contact information can also be found on the school's athletic website. Have you been looking for a guilt-free reason to gorge yourself on deep-fried chicken? Well, I've got one for you. Monday, June 2nd, the girls' varsity softball team will be having a fundraiser at the Buffalo Wild Wings in Lake Orion. Now, 20% of all purchases that day, accompanied by the softball fundraiser certificate, will be donated directly to the program. This certificate can be found and printed at the school's athletic website, oxfordathletics.org, or if you have any other questions, you can contact head coach Jessica Granger. Now, in local pro sports, Baston fans had a wicked sad weekend as the Detroit Tigers swept the Red Sox for the first time in 30 years at Fenway Park. Adding to their 11-game road winning streak and baseball's best record of 27-12, even the Tigers' previous area of concern, their bullpen has looked strong as of late, not allowing a run in 8 innings of relief over the weekend. Let's hope this continues as they begin a 3-game series with Central Division rival Cleveland tonight. Now, I'm Andy Curtis, and if you have a sports story or a correction you would like to inform me of, please send me an email at andrewcurtis23@gmail.com and put OCTV Sports in the subject line. And remember, you can watch all your favorite Oxford High School sports games here on OCTV, weekends from 1:30 to 6, or on our website at occtv.org under the Programs tab. Thanks for watching, and that was all the sports news you need to know.
Yeah!
You're watching OCTV, Oxford Community Television, serving Oxford, Addison Township, and the village of Leonard.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. Well, they say that sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you. Yet, childhood bullying really can damage your long-term health. Gone are the days when bullying was considered an inevitable and ultimately harmless part of growing up. Just last month, we learned that childhood bullying can lead to poorer mental health even into middle age. Now, William Copeland at Duke University in Durham, North Carolina, and his colleagues have shown that it can have lingering physiological effects too. They tracked 1,429-year-olds right through their teens. Each child was seen up to 9 times during the study and quizzed about bullying. The team then measured levels of C-reactive protein in their blood. CRP is a marker of inflammation linked to higher risk of cardiovascular disease and problems like diabetes. Although CRP levels naturally rise in everyone during adolescence, levels were highest in children who reported being tormented by bullies. Even at the ages of 19 and 21, children who had been bullied had CRP levels about 1.4 times higher than peers who were neither perpetrators nor victims. In a cruel twist, the bullies had the lowest levels of all, suggesting they didn't suffer the same health risk. They may even see a benefit from their behavior, though Copeland stresses it doesn't vindicate their actions. And on the medical front, could the humble blood pressure cuff hold the secret to a life-saving new treatment? Briefly, restricting blood flow to a person's arm seems to prime the heart and other organs to cope with a more severe loss in their blood supply. The technique could improve recovery from surgery, a heart attack, or stroke. There's tremendous interest because it's a simple, cheap, and non-invasive form of protection, says Derek Yellen at University College in London at a conference on the approach in London last month. The effect relies on a phenomenon called ischemic conditioning, first seen in animal experiments that temporarily cut off the heart's blood supply. Researchers found that there was less damage to the heart if its blood supply was briefly lowered beforehand. It was as if the heart muscle had been trained to withstand oxygen deprivation. Surprisingly, reducing blood supply in one of the animal's limbs simply by squeezing it produced the same effect. The effect could even be passed from one animal to another with a blood transfusion, suggesting that the squeezed limb released some sort of beneficial chemical signal into the blood. Researchers are now trying to uncover the exact mechanism involved. Using the method in the clinic involves 4 cycles of inflating a blood pressure cuff for 5 minutes and then deflating it for 5 minutes. Several studies show that this cuts damage to heart muscle by about 1/3 following surgery to bypass blocked arteries when the heart's blood supply must be stopped for up to an hour. It can also be used before the artery widening treatment given immediately after a heart attack to lessen damage caused by the sudden return of blood. Such studies suggest that ischemic conditioning can lower death rates by as much as 2/3. But not all trial results have shown a significant effect, although none has been found to cause any harm. We need to wait for evidence from larger trials, says Gerd Heusch of the University of Essen in Germany, who carried out one of the artery bypass studies. Even so, a few hospitals in India and China are already using ischemic conditioning before heart surgery or as a treatment for heart attacks. In Europe, a computer-controlled cuff that carries out the procedure will be launched later this year. And that could be a good thing for a lot of people. And up in the sky, incoming! A major new meteor shower is set to streak across the skies next week as Earth passes through the dust streams released by a comet 2 centuries ago. Counting the meteors may give clues to the comet's past. There are several new meteor showers discovered every year, says Bill Cook, head of NASA's Meteoroid Environment Office in Huntsville, Alabama, but most are only spotted by skilled observers because the meteors are so scarce. This time, observers in North America could see more than 200 meteors per hour. The meteors are dust ejected from the comet 209P/Linear in the 1800s. Earth is due to cross the dust stream for the first time on May 24th. Meteors will be visible from a point in the constellation Camelopardalis. Never heard that one when I was a Boy Scout. Between midnight and 8 a.m. GMT, that's Greenwich Mean Time, with the best views likely from North America in the last 2 hours. Get out there. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.
You're watching OCTV, Oxford Community Television, serving Oxford, Addison Township, and the village of Leonard.
Come on out for Friday night fish at the Oxford American Legion Hall. It's delicious.
We love the Legion. They have great fish and good family fun.
American Legion fish fry. It's awesome. And the drinks are good. The food is good. The service is awesome.